Okay, we are here, and I just tweeted something about how they fixed this one issue, which I'm going to get to in a second. Let me just skim through these TU 20.2 patch notes, and I'm glad they're consistent with this because some game developers don't even do their community right. But even though they had a long break a while ago, they're doing what they have to do. They're keeping up with this, and rightly so. They're making sure that their game is healthy. And most of the stuff, a lot of you don't know about, so I'm just going to skim through this because honestly, 85% of the stuff I don't even know about. But there's one thing on here that I'm really happy about, and it's going to piss a lot of the Division 2 community off, and I'm going to tell you why. But basically, they fixed some manhunt progression issues, missing VO reactions, fixed some Season 11 climax mission problems. Nothing really that you probably know about. But I'm going to include the link to this so you can read the patch notes yourself. They fixed some stuff in tinkering, some audio bugs, some exotic blueprints that weren't available with Inaya. And in PvP, they updated the 𝐤𝐤𝐬𝐞 set 4-piece talent description for PvP. Also, the perfectly behind you talent. Because I made a build with the behind you talent, actually with the named weapon. And it doesn't specify on the talent, nor does it specify on the gear set of 𝐤𝐤𝐬𝐞 that it does not work in PvP. So I assumed that it did work in PvP, even though in the patch notes it said that it didn't work. But it's better that it's on the talent because in the build I specified, oh, maybe they should put this on the talent that it doesn't work in PvP so it doesn't confuse people, because it confused me. And then under the other category, they just fixed some bugs that we probably don't even know about. And like I said, the Iron Lung blueprint not being purchasable from Inaya, or the focus talent not working as intended when using the Vindicator exotic rifle. So there were some pretty good fixes in this, but the only thing that I'm concerned about is the one within the tinkering where it says fix the issue that hindered the optimization of the second core attribute, damage to armor, of the Capacitor exotic assault rifle. Okay, now you know that I've been ramping and raving about this weapon for so long. Okay, the Capacitor is probably one of my favorite weapons, and for good reason. And the reason why I said that it's going to piss a lot of the Division community off is because people don't like the fact that this weapon just slaps in general. The fact that hybrid builds are on the rise, and they're actually starting to replace these all red builds that you see. The problem was that because damage to armor is not natively on assault rifles, which the Capacitor is, whenever you would go to try and optimize the damage to armor on your Capacitor, it wasn't available in the optimization library to actually do that. So the only way to get like a maximum 12% roll was to re-roll until you got lucky. And I actually rolled it one time and got 11% damage to armor, which was good for me. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to try it again because I don't want to get less than this. But I guess a lot of the community were complaining about it, and they fixed it. So now you're going to be able to optimize damage to armor to the 12% max, which is great. And you know what? I was actually scared that the developers were going to scrap this whole concept of the damage to armor on the Capacitor, since it already has damage to targets out of cover. I'm thinking they just made a mistake when they made the Capacitor like this because it seems like it might be too strong. So I was scared that they were going to scrap this whole idea and just put damage to health like all the other assault rifles. But the Capacitor is staying the same, baby, and I am so happy. Not only is it staying the same, but you're able to max it out completely now. But I want to tell y'all a story, okay? Because this is why I believe that the community is going to be upset about this. Without fail, every time I would fight against somebody like with a 1.9 striker, all red and blue, they would complain about me using skills. They would complain about me not having a proper build on. But regardless to what they say, I still won the fight. And a lot of people in the community feel this way. Let me tell you a little story. I'm going to go down memory lane a little bit, okay? And some of you might be familiar with this because before the Division 2 came out a while ago, I was into a game called Gears of War. Comment down below if you played that game and which one you started playing. I started playing Gears of War 2 and then I went back to Gears 1, but my era began with Gears of War 2 and then 3 and then Judgment. So this explains a lot about why I was not able to thrive back in the day on a game like that. You see, Gears of War players are exactly how meta players are in Division 2. Let me explain. In Gears of War, you had the Gnasher shotgun, you had the Lancer assault rifle, you had the Hammer Burst rifle, and you had another Lancer variant with a bayonet, a knife on the end of it. And then you had wall bouncing and this whole culture of using a shotgun. It just pigeonholed everyone into playing the exact same way. Wall bouncing, then getting the angle on somebody to body him when you wall bounce to the right angle. Certain people had mad skills wall bouncing. And everybody did this in a way that who was the best wall bouncer, who had the best shoddy skills, who can cover fire the best with the Lancer. So everyone played the same. So it didn't allow me to really thrive. I always stayed at that 1.9 or 2.0 kill death ratio. And whenever I would get to 2.0 or 2.1, it would go right back down to a 1.9 because I had a couple games where I got like 4 kills and like 5 deaths. And so I just realized why I was not able to really thrive and go in on that game, because the mentality of people in that game is the same mentality that meta players have in the Division 2. And when Division 2 came out is when I was able to really spread my wings, because now I can use a build that allows me to play how I want to play. And no matter what you say to me, there's nothing you can tell me that will make me believe that what I'm doing is wrong. I can make a build that will completely counter whatever build you're using. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? A lot of people get confused about this. And certain people that listen to my videos and listen to me talk, they have selective hearing. And so they hear something that I say and take it personally as if I'm against these all red builds or something like that. I don't have a problem with an all red striker build or a striker build that's 1.9 million armor with blues and gets its stacks from the striker talent. I don't have a problem with that, but I see flaws in its design. I can't help it. And when this new brand set came out, Palisades, and before that, Brazos, it just opened up my eyes to something completely different. Now the reality sinks in that things are changing. To me, it just makes more sense. These hybrid builds now are a lot better than the 1.9 million armor striker. Period. They're better than all red builds. So if I see flaws in something's design and I see something that's better than that, then I'm going to run that build. You could be mad all you want, but I'm going to go with what's the most efficient. And that whole 1v1 thing is dead to me. I don't really care about that, honestly. Because if you 1v1 me, I'm going to play the way that I play. I'm going to use skills with the build that I make. And this is usually what happens when I do that. And then you're going to say, oh, you're using skills. Hey, it is what it is. It's only right. It only makes sense. Because we have a weapon that gives you weapon damage for having skill tiers. Then you have brand sets that give you free skill tiers for wearing them. Then you can add 2 weapon cores. Then add armor to have more survivability. Categorically, that's better. I want to pose a challenge to the PvP community. And by the way, these builds, these hybrid builds, completely viable in PvE as well. But let me just pose a challenge to the community. And by the way, I don't really think that the community is going to accept this challenge because I made a challenge to do the incursion with skill builds. Nobody did it, so I got a group together and we beat it with ease. You can go check that footage or gameplay out just to see how we did it. But the point is, I used to do this stuff all the time. My old clan, none of them play this game anymore, so I can't do this stuff like I used to. Back in the day, I was running all kind of anti-meta builds with my whole team. I'm like, yo, you wear this build, you wear that build, and I'm going to wear this build, and we're going to dominate. And that's what we did. But nowadays, I'm solo a lot. I can't really do that anymore. So this is why I'm saying I want to pose a challenge. If you really don't believe me, to the community, I want you to just think about this for a second, okay? Let's take the 1.9 million armor striker build with all blues and maybe 1 red, no reds, which it is. It's an all blue build, 6 armor cores, and you get your damage based on the stacks that you gain from its talent, right? The weapon damage stacks. And then let's put that against, for example, a build like Juggernaut, the one that I just uploaded on YouTube, where I have 1.7 million armor or 1.8 based on what your expertise level is. It has 2 weapon cores, 5 armor cores, and 5 skill tiers, right? Take a full team of players with that build and take a full team of players with the 1.9 million armor striker build and fight. See who the victor is. If I was a betting man, I would bet any amount of money that the hybrid build will win. Simply put. It's just categorically better. I'm just spitting facts. Tell me I'm wrong. Okay? Just think about it. If we go out on the battlefield in the dark zone or whatnot, or in conflict, wherever you want to do it at, the hybrid builds have 5 skill tiers. You're not going to be able to jam our skills, but we can jam yours. We're going to be providing more firepower with our skills and weapons, and we're going to have more formidable skills. So how can you win that fight? Seriously, that's all I'm saying. And when I see stuff like that, or when I think of perspectives like that, it just makes sense to run this. You know, the hybrid era is here. Obviously, the developers want this to be the way it is. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made this change with the capacitor. Like I said, I was scared that they were going to revert the capacitor back to health damage, like all the other assault rifles, but they didn't. So obviously they want this to be this way. They added another brand set that allows you to have another skill tier for free. So what are they trying to do here? They're trying to promote a way that you can play where your skills are powerful and your weapons are powerful. How can you not see this? And for so long, the skill or hybrid community has never had a voice. So I'm just gonna keep promoting this. And like I said, I'm not against DPS builds. I actually made a video just yesterday talking about the ultimate DPS build. So how can I be against it if I'm making videos about it, promoting it? I just see flaws in its design. And I made a poll also asking you, the community, what video you want me to do next. You want me to do the ultimate hybrid build, the ultimate skill build, or the ultimate tank build? And the majority want to do the ultimate hybrid build, as you can see. So that's what I'm going to upload next, and this build is crazy. So it seems like as this progression of these title updates have been going, it's been getting better for hybrid builds, and I love it. So if you don't want to hop on this caravan and move with the winds, that's on you. Come on, man. If you can have the weapon damage and the skill tiers, I mean, how can you go wrong with that? I just think that for the most part, people don't like change, and that's pretty much what it is. They're used to their play styles, and that's just it, man. I mean, I guess I'm just different, right? Anyways, this is pretty much a long conversation. I just felt like it had to be said. I wanted to highlight this one aspect from the patch notes. And I'm going to include a link in the description so you can read the full patch notes yourself. But I'm pretty anxious to optimize my capacitor to the max because the ultimate hybrid build that I'm making is with a capacitor. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, if you enjoyed this conversation, I'd appreciate a like on the video. And if you have anything to say or add or anything you want to tell me, comment down below, and I'm curious to see what your perspective is about what I said. So that'll do it for this one. I'll see you in my next video. Be right out.